right. Smells so good up here.
I know, the bacon.
All the food is like.
I know, this is the pre. How come when I hit live and like it's.
Hi, guys.
Grab your wine. It's time for Rosé All Day and Julie's a Mess, where we talk about current events and living in an intersex life. And now, here's Julie.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Rosé All Day, Julie's a Mess, our subset of Optimistic in Orlando, where we talk about online dating, the pitfalls, the pratfalls, and everything that you need to know while trying to navigate the world of online dating. We have a really special show for you this week, so we're going to get right into it because we have a lot that's going on. I want to start by talking about my wine this evening. I am drinking Fleur de Rosé. We got it at Winn-Dixie. I almost said Winn-Dixie.
So we call it.
We call it Winn-Dixie. Anyway, Winn-Dixie, don't. So anyway, Fleur de Rosé. We are talking about how it's very woodsy. It's very buttery. If you know rosés, they often are not. It's a very buttery blend, woodsy.
It's a beautiful color.
It's a beautiful color. And it's for, I think I paid under $15 for it this week. So this is what we're drinking. It's hard for me to show that, but it's streaming across the bottom. And then Rebecca, tell us what you're snacking on tonight.
I went back for more. It's the Côte de Rose. There you go. And it's like kind of fruity and light and fresh. And it's like the right amount of sweetness. It's almost too much, but it's not.
So we'll be running those wines for everybody tonight as we go on through our show. We're still looking for a wine sponsor for Rosé All Day. Julie's Mess, Optimistic in Orlando. Maybe we'll find one in the future. And then Rebecca and I can quit buying wines and we will just get catered to. Because as women...
As it should be.
That's how it should be, right?
We should not be for our own rosé.
We should not. And this week, joining us on the show, normally it's just Rebecca and I from Orlando and Savannah. But tonight... we are being joined by the one and only Manny Karamas West.
Hello.
Manny and I have known each other for quite a while. He has been on Rosé All Day before. We celebrated your 50th birthday on Rosé All Day. Your son's been on here before, and so has your husband. So we are glad to have you back. You are here in a different kind of light this evening.
More of a consulting type.
We are going to be allowing Rebecca and Manny to pick from the hive a little bit later. So hopefully you will join us, and we are live. So you can always join us in the chat room. We like to talk to people and see your comments and questions in real time. Let's get right into the show. Let me tell you, Rebecca, dating this last couple of weeks has been rough. In fact, somebody shared this with me this week, and I think this is my new game plan going into 2024. Have you heard about this, Rebecca?
Hit me with it.
Female octopuses. If a female octopus is hungry and doesn't want to mate, but the male tries, she'll let him insert his mating arm and begin the process before inching closer to him. Then she'll strangle him, kill him, and feast on his corpse in her den for a few days.
I literally have dreams about this.
I dated the gay version of this octopus.
Because he had eight arms that he tried to insert in you at one time.
I just think it's the best, best reward that a man can get for unwanted attention.
Look, let's be honest. Women are really having a hard go in dating. It's not just women, but we talk that in detail. We even talked last week about a particular man in Chicago that was suing 24 women in a group called Are We Dating the Same Guy in Chicago and Meta and Facebook for $75 million because of the way he was portrayed in the group. Some of the news stories that have come out in the last week or two said that he was accused of ghosting and being clingy. He said that it has ruined his life, that he can't get a date. I was even going into some of the different groups this week and just reading some of the comments, right? And women were like, well, the proof is in the pudding. If you're not ghosting 54 women and being clingy and using them, then you wouldn't end up in the group. I do know for a fact, just talking to everybody out there, if you don't know about these groups, they literally are popping up in major cities around the country, major cities. They cover a wide berth. Like there's one here in Florida that covers most of the eastern seaboard of Florida. There's one for Tampa. There's one for Orlando. Even a guy that we have talked about before on this show that we refer to as Psycho Bunny. I shared with Rebecca tonight that I found out tonight he is listed a few times in the Tampa group, but not necessarily the Orlando group. So we're trying to figure out what the T is on that. I don't know if he has a leg to stand on, but he is also Nick D'Ambrosio. I can say his name because it's public record now. He is our gutter swipe of the week because after he came out with his lawsuit, arrested and charged with tax fraud, and is connected to the mob.
This feels very octopusy. How he got octopus.
He sure did.
A little bit, right? Somebody came in close and fed on him. But you had said today when I shared this story with you, audacity always gets them in the end. Rebecca, what do you mean by that?
It means that this man had the audacity to not even know he needed to protect himself from being looked into publicly. Any fucking skeletons in his closet. He had the audacity to decide he wanted millions of dollars for being a dick. And you know what? He got screwed over by his own asshole.
It's funny too, because one of the ladies in the group, a couple of ladies in all the groups, because it was shared because women were like, oh, can we not protect each other anymore? Can we not share that these men are doing this to us? Are we in the wrong for this? There was a lot of that kind of backlash too. And one woman said, she was like, look, you can't say names in this group. You can say the first name or the initials and you can post a picture. We're not posting personal information. They're not telling you where they live. They're not saying they hang out at Buffalo Wild Wings on Cimarron Boulevard. They're not saying all of that. They're saying, do you have any tea on Dylan? And then they show a picture of Dylan. And that literally opens the door for people to say, I matched with him on The Hive last week and he is a narcissist, or he told me he doesn't like kids, or he kicked my dog in the teeth. They're not talking poorly about the person. They're just warning other women, don't invest your time, right? There are sites out there, and we talked about this last week. There would be sites out there for women. Are we dating the same women if men cared? But they don't care.
And there's a physical threat involved too, and there's a power dynamic involved too. Like, we got to take care of each other. But here's the other thing that I think is hilarious is, if you have ever spent any time with women, you know that we are just waiting to dote over a good guy. Like, we will glorify him on a fucking pedestal. So you think that we're going out there and getting these good men and throwing trash at them? No, they'd be snapped up and married off, like, even in a toxic way.
100%.
So I think it's hilarious that people think that we are motivated in any way, shape, or form with the few people that are worth having, that we would be motivated to just put them up on a cross and get rid of them.
I mean, you also have women in these groups that are literally going in and saying, is anybody dating somebody by the name of MS in Gulfport, Mississippi? And women are like, I need a picture. And they're like, I don't want to share a picture because of fear that it'll get back to him that I'm posting, which that happens. Mm-hmm. But also you think there are women in there that are petrified to post because they have a good thing and they're only posting because it's trendy to do. But they're also secretly hoping, oh my gosh, I'm going to post a picture of my husband, Manny, and I hope 86 women don't come forward saying they've all been sleeping with him too.
Well, it's almost a background check at this point, and unfortunately, a lot of the time they're right to do so. So anyway, I just think it's ridiculous. And also, I mean, this is okay, I'm prefacing this is a very toxic thing for me to say from a female to male sexism perspective. However, it is a very male thing to do to want to like get the Eve and get the scarlet letter, and then they would post the name of where she lives and get rid of her. You know what I mean? Like that's the typical. So there's a projection that's happening. No, that's what you would do. That's not what we're doing.
How a certain huge social media conglomerate was started, whose name we will not mention.
That's absolutely, that's a good point.
That's absolutely true.
Mhm.
100%. Well, going into that, we have a special guest star with us tonight, Manny Karamas West. I've known Manny how many years now?
Oh,
God, at least.
maybe 6 or 7. Yeah.
And he knows me pretty well. We are roommates. I live with him and his husband. And I moved back to Orlando from Savannah in August. And that's kind of how this podcast became a part of our daily scope and lives. And Rebecca and I started doing this, back in September, October, I think. And it's been a very cool kind of social constructed experiment, but people aren't staying in the hive, and it's not working for us content wise. I mean, it is somewhat, but like it is still very precarious to find somebody to date, and we're always looking for new ways to expand on that. And so this week we decided we'd have Manny on and we'd ask him some questions, even just as a gay man who has lived in many metropolitan cities. Is dating the same way that it was even years ago when you met your husband? And do you see similarities between the straight world and the gay world when it comes to online dating?
Well, I mean, yes and no. So when I, because I'm so young, but when I started dating, social media really wasn't the thing. I mean, you actually went to bars and you met people and you had to have a conversation. And, if you wanted to hook up and you wanted to get a piece, I mean, you had to have some je ne sais quoi, if you will, to yourself. I think, and now these days, where the equality comes in is that you've got the hive and we've got the bee storm. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The beast.
I feel like we called the other one the beast.
Yeah, we have different apps that kind of pretty much do the same thing, and that has pretty much twinge, and it has leveled that playing field in a sense where guys are pretty much just looking for one thing, and they'll put out on there very often that they are looking for their long-term relationships, for the love of their life, and so on. But let's just be honest, they're on there for dick and ass. And that's what it comes down to. And puss, depending on what we're talking about. So that to me has sort of leveled that playing field a little bit, and it has brought forward the same sort of cynicism and things that come along as tied together both the gay world and the straight world, if that makes sense. I think that, and this could be an old school thought that goes in, but I think that removing the ability for people to actually get dressed up, look nice, put on your best, go out, and potentially you're hoping to meet a mate, it took that away from everyone in a sense. And now you're dating within a realm where people are basically lying and they're just looking for sex. And they're kind of kidding themselves as well, because they say that they're looking for that long-term relationship, but they usually only log in when they're horny. And that's kind of what it comes down to. So that's where I feel that I've met, like my husband, I met him through friends, right? The old-fashioned way. I didn't plan it that way. I was on, what do we call it? The hive. We'll call it the hive, the beast.
The beast.
I was on the beast.
The twinge.
Let's be honest, I was on the beast for one in particular thing. But when I went out and met quality people like this through quality friends, the credentials were already there, right? And I know that a lot of us spend so much time looking for those credentials and trying to figure out what their profile's like. They're all lies. But when you go out and you meet these people, oh, you know Joe, oh, you know Brian, they're quality people. I know you must be a quality person in some sense, right? Does that make sense? Did that kind of answer that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you look at people that are not partnered, and you just go, oh, I'm glad I'm not dating anymore, right? It's a little bit different.
Only if they're ugly. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, okay. I have a version of that question, which is, do you think you would do as well today as you did when you met your husband given how everybody's kind of gotten down to this least common denominator showing up hobble life.
Yeah.
And like, do you think that you get, and again, there's what you're saying, that's like my move. I like meeting people through people, but that can be difficult.
Sure.
The friends thing you can still do, but even like going into a bar, people don't talk to each other these days anymore because they're on the apps for it. So it's like all shoveled into the apps, so people are less social. So all of that together, do you feel like you could do the same now?
I mean, I don't know. That's a tough question, and I appreciate it, but I think so. I would hate to be back out there doing that all the time. I think the spot that I was in when that happened, I was game for it because I had been so wronged, or certain things happened that I had something to prove to myself, that I was worthy of that I was worthy of getting out there and doing that. And I really put myself out there. And I did. I dated a few different people, but I think I would do the same thing. I don't know if I'd be as successful, but I like to think I would be. So yeah. So to answer that, I would put myself out there. I think I would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So any other questions for you before we dive into your picks for the week?
Ooh,
this should be fun.
Fun part.
Ooh, yeah. Well, let's dive into the picks, and then I'm gonna have like all sorts of questions that.
Okay. Well, y'all can do this. So for those that are watching from home or listening to us as we get back up into the airwaves and try and figure that out, it's a little bit different this week. I am taking myself out of the equation. The Hive has been a little overwhelming lately, and people are not sticking around beyond the initial couple of days of texting or chatting. And so I'm starting to feel like maybe I need to remove myself totally and allow the two people that know me the best into the Hive. Mm-hmm. So Manny is very opinionated. Rebecca is pretty level. They both have their good points. I wouldn't say anybody has bad points, but this is literally like, if you're into
kinky, not willing to make that change.
Kinky shit, let me put on my blindfold right now because I'm not having a say in this week. I will see some of them as I start to initiate contact with them after Manny and Rebecca choose. But this is literally going to be their doing. You'll be able to watch me drink in the corner, run the graphics, and also, cringe a little bit as Manny probably makes comments like, oh, I hate her this week. So we're going to give her this guy that looks like he's making the donuts at Dunkin' Donuts. So anyway,
nothing wrong with that.
I want to remind people what Juleigh's aesthetic is. Last week, we talked in detail about how Juleigh really has a celebrity crush on Austin Kroll from Southern Charm. After watching season 9 this week, she's a little because he is kind of, so are most of the men on there. I don't know if Rebecca was able to catch up at all. But just so you know, aesthetically, if any of these men that are celebrities walked into a bar right now with myself, these are the ones that would absolutely make me look at the door and drool a little bit. So here they are, right? This is my type. Look, they all look similar, right? Mm-hmm. They all look similar. Manny has his opinion about all of them. You may recognize Josh Duhamel, obviously Jamie Dorner from 50 Shades of Grey, Ben Affleck. This, I don't really know his name, but I just like the tattoos and his look. He is the Josh Mooney model. Here is Austin Kroll, Craig Conover, both from Southern Charm. But aesthetically, this is what I like, right? So I'm sure that's not what's going to be picked for me tonight.
And herein lies the beginning of the problem.
Okay, so Manny, you start. We're going to start off with this because I have so many feelings.
Well, okay.
Julie, sit back.
Yeah, you just might want to sit back. So
can you give me a top?
Sure. So those men, they're all awesome people, so I'm not going to put them down at all. But those men are all a certain type. They all look a certain way. I think that they present their aesthetic to you, and you want that aesthetic, but it's not always the best thing for you because you continuously look at them for their appeal and how they look aesthetically, but there's nothing beyond that. And again, not saying that about those celebrities, just about some of the men in general. And the circular sort of thing that keeps occurring is that these same kind of men keep coming in. I see pictures of them. I see videos of them. They're absolutely stunning. They're gorgeous. And they continuously ghost, or they use her, or they do whatever, and then they're gone. And, you know, when we get into what is the definition of insanity, right? We start to see that same progression over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome that never actually happens. So Julie and I have talked several times about, I don't like to say lowering expectations or lowering what she wants, because I understand a woman wants what a woman wants, just like anyone does. But at the same time, I think a little bit of leverage needs to be given there, because sometimes people in general, not just you, when they do that, they overlook some of the amazing people that are sitting right in front of them. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They're all going to get older, and they're all going to look like, you know, something from Lord of the Rings at some point. So you're going to have to just deal with it.
Fuck. Okay, so going into it for this week, because we have a lot, real fast, not to cut you off. These would be Rebecca and Manny's picks.
How's it? Okay.
To sum it up, we're going to let Rebecca make her statement real fast, because I know she's itching and I cut her off all the time. Go ahead and do that.
So first of all, Julie, you're going to have to bear with us, because as we go through, we'll probably go off onto little tangents. What I will say about these guys, which is primarily from personal experience, actually, they have what we talked about in a previous episode, hot guy privilege. And they work very, very hard on their aesthetic because they know it's currency. And they were born that way. They've been moving through the world that way. You are every woman, in essence. Yes, hot guy privilege. So they have a lot of power. And I find I can kind of like, I can look, and I have been with a lot of vain men, and some of them are lovely and great and whatever. But when they lead with their aesthetic, it usually means that they're still leveraging a power that they know will diminish over time. Their prowess will go away, and they're still in it. And so there is a cost benefit analysis to be made somehow, sometimes, of like if they're leading with their aesthetic versus happening to be attractive. So that's something that I would say, like, when I see those guys in the hive, I'm like, oh, here's a gutter. We'll throw it her way so we can get a gutter. And we talked about this again in the hot guy privilege episode of it's very challenging, because I'm on there and I'm like, there are a lot of nice guys, but I know that you're not going to be attracted to them. And a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be attracted to them on a picture, which is one of the reasons that it's great to meet people in person, because you're attracted to someone's energy, you pick up on it, whatever. But at the same time, just because someone's a nice guy doesn't mean we have to match you with them. So this is the stuff we're juggling all the time. So that is going to lead us into, I'm gonna send Manny my first pick. He's
so
gonna
the way this is gonna work. So I don't want to see it.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Turn it. But the way it's gonna work is normally Rebecca would describe the profiles, nickname them, and send them to me. What's fun about having Manny in here is he can help nickname them if he wants, right? He can be like, because we're not saying their name, right? Out of protection. Nope. And we're on the hive. But she has already picked 7 coming into this week. She is going to go ahead and send the first couple over, and they're going to talk about them together. And I'm just going to kind of sit over here and wait for them to decide, is this somebody that she would go out with? Do you think this is somebody that she would connect with? Why or why not? But we're going to go ahead and let them do that. It's 7:22, and we end right around 8, usually 8:10. So let's get into it, guys.
Exciting.
All right. So this one is moving over. Let me know when you have him. I'm going to hop into the app. Okay. So.
All right.
Wait, is this the same guy that I thought?
Can I that's all you can see, right? You can see.
Yes. So.
She video screened it, so it'll run through kind of fast.
Okay.
You can kind of
and you can slow down the finger, right?
Yeah.
So there's a few reasons I picked him. Again, for everybody, and I talked about this with Manny before we got on here, but it is difficult for me to pick someone that I would want someone that I love to be with from the matches that happen to come in that week. So part of what we're going to be talking about is the balance of like, okay, he looks hot, but could he be a dick? Do we think he's a gutter? And I really want Manny's perspective because I have a very specific perspective. So what are your first thoughts? And then I will read the profile and do the thing I normally do.
Okay, it's running through here. All right, so first off,
does he have a nickname?
No, I don't have one for him yet. He's cute. He has a nice smile. Wow, he has a really nice smile, actually. He joins spontaneous activities. He's looking for a long-term relationship. Okay, he's been to a lot of cool places. He lives in Winter Park. That's cool. And he's from Santa Barbara. Okay, all that stuff is really cool. The only thing I'd say about this guy, honestly, he's kind of young.
Yes.
I know we like that. That's okay. Okay, business development.
Part of me thinks he's from Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Yes, he may be young, but he knows what living in California is like, which is not cheap. So maybe he has a good head on his shoulder.
Okay, you're not supposed
to. He also has like California privilege, Hawkeye privilege.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting.
So go ahead.
About cars, I see that he does some deals with cars and things of that nature. He guarantees that he's kind of humble and family oriented.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either. The humble is not coming through at all.
No.
Confident, maybe.
This was me trying to throw Juleigh a bone on the hot front.
Yeah, he's hot.
He is about as close to douchey, but not too much over the line as I'm going to go in order to make the sacrifice to give her some eye candy.
100%.
He's 34 and living his best life, and he knows it.
Yeah.
He's to give people, let's read his bio for folks. So 3 years back, I packed up and moved to the States, making it my home after lots of visits. With a business mindset and a work ethic, I dove into the finance side of a car dealership, all while crafting my own business on the side. So he's giving us a resume. It's a business pitch for himself. He's spiritual and conservative, which is interesting. He's looking for a relationship, which is really just a draw for you to come into his profile, but probably not true. He values mindfulness. He looks like he knows what mindfulness is.
Well, he keeps looking behind him too, so he's kind of probably a bottom, which...
Yeah, he does. Yeah, now that I see that, I can't unsee it.
I get a lot from that.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we think?
I put him into the maybe. Is there a maybe realm? Can we put him into a maybe realm?
At the end of the night.
Okay.
We can. When we have a maybe, we usually go for it for the sake of the show, for our viewers. But let's put him. Let's pick a top three if we can. So
Rebecca, if I can just pause, like we can't say the name, but you see the name, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can do a play on that name or give him a nickname.
Okay.
But y'all will agree on it. I'll see him later in the hive. So like just pick. We usually try and pick like Psycho Bunny had the Psycho Bunny t-shirt on. So that's why he was
right.
Let's call him Debo.
Okay. I like it. Okay. So moving on to the next one. He's a maybe. Let's try to get our top three out of. We've got 7 to choose from. So let's see.
These guys are cute.
Okay, so this guy.
But you know, I mean, I'm not gonna. She knows. She's been doing this a while. Like. It's hard because, okay, while y'all are looking and kind of going through the mix, Manny, do you think some of my, I mean, totally vulnerable right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are my failures to launch when it comes to dating?
Ooh, wow, we're going right there, huh?
We're drinking.
Failures to launch.
You gotta make it interesting.
You really want to know that?
You know what? Just don't make
you
me
give
sound
away the
bored.
cookies too quick.
Don't make me sound
I just said it. You give away the cookies too quick.
Everybody likes
No,
but are you saying that because
men, when you do that with men and you give that up too quickly.
I have strong feelings about this, Manny. Because is that true for men with men, or is that true in your opinion for women with men? Because there's a double standard.
Both. Yeah, I agree. But for me, in my personal day.
Oh, you're freezing. I don't know if you're freezing for everyone else, but you're freezing for me.
Luke, we're freezing.
A little bit.
Yeah, you froze for us too. I think we're
Maybe
back.
you weren't meant to say that, you know.
Oh,
you froze again.
So what was it? Go back real fast. We froze for a minute. Yeah.
So I think what Rebecca was asking was sort of the same. Is that my idea for both the men and the women?
Well, you said yes, but you're saying it's a little bit of a double standard. And we're waiting for her to come back in. And see, are you back with us? So what was your double standard?
Well, so I have fought this.
Yes.
My whole life. And I have had experiences of all kinds, a lot of boyfriends that I was with like right away. But what I will say, but a lot of men who also behaved that way in response. What I will say is, if you are with somebody who is so fixated on the chase that they're not interested in you when you give yourself over to them, that's a bit of a flag for me. And a bit of it, I'm like, here's my nuance. It's not about giving your body. It's not about whether you're having sex or not, or whether you're doing, it's, are you giving them the impression that they have you? Or are you presenting that your time and your energy needs to be earned? So maybe you're having sex with them right away, but are you giving them the impression, oh, now I've got her, I don't have to try, or she doesn't have any standards, or she doesn't have rules and regulations? Because as I've gotten really strong about my rules and regulations, and this is how it's going to go, and this is what I want, and they don't feel like they own me, I do feel maybe a little bit more successful in not getting ghosted. But you guys are frozen.
Again? Are we still frozen? Can you hear us? We are having some technical difficulties. Rebecca, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Did you hear?
Can hear you.
Did you hear anything?
Okay.
Okay. Should we
just keep? There we go.
Because I can hear you guys now, but we are a little bit frozen.
Let's move on.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I think we're having some internet connection.
Okay.
I did get the last one.
Through the next profile. Yeah, go ahead. What's your impression? Okay, so we can't hear you. I'm going to describe it, and then we'll see if we can get back to you. So, guys, we're looking at a 47-year-old man. He looks very friendly. He says, a Texas gentleman, hardworking, hustling, a dad to 7-year-old twins, outgoing introvert, homebody, emotionally available, openly expressive, chivalrous, hopeless romantic, chill, laid back, calm, positive personality, big believer on genuine chemistry, connection, positive vibes, and quality time. He really values positivity. And then I think we're back. Do you guys want to weigh in? Manny, are you there?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So we are still having connectivity issues Tommy is in the chat room and he said that he can hear us. So
I can hear you.
just
I can hear you. You cut out sometimes, but I can hear you if you want to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
So thank you, Tommy. So we'll just keep talking. So, in looking at this guy, well, he's got Star Wars in the back. I know I'm a big Star Wars geek, so that's a big thing. But I like the pictures. I like what he has to say about family.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be too wholesome for you, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, there's a couple of things in here. Like I'm trying to get what's the ideal first date: chemistry, connection, chivalry, cuddling, intimacy, laughter, banter, authenticity, loyalty. It's nice. I feel like he's a little nice. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just not a match. You're right. He seems, and he does have kids, which I know is not something Julie wants to be sharing. Because we talked about this at length. We don't have to go over it again. But that he seems like a dad, like a very wholesome dad, and that's not necessarily a match for what you are looking for, or needing, or whatever. So yeah, I think it kills me because I find these like 1 in a million wholesome people, and then it's like, well, that doesn't mean that just because someone's a good person that they're going to be a match with someone. So anyway, all right. So we'll move on to the next. Yeah, maybe too nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next guy. So currently we don't have anyone on our top yet. The next one. Okay. Now I'm just going to take it away.
All right.
What?
I can't wait.
Your closest out of 2 would be Devo.
So far.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Right. So this one really fascinates me. I can't tell if he's in. I just want you to go off.
All right.
Go off.
Take another sip of my rosé.
It is. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to start off by saying this. I wish I could do that at 52. Oh, okay. Optometrist. That's better.
I need one of those.
Okay. I like the school he went to. Okay. Come on, just waiting for it to scroll here. As a motion. Okay. In search of someone who shares the traits. See, he wants an LTR. Loyal. It's about being trustworthy. Truthful. Lives. Okay. Whoops. It's gone. All right. This guy's active. Okay. So it comes across with a little bit of douchiness for me. Obviously, oh dear, I think I know this person. Anyway,
that's good.
He's financially secure. That's great. He's not into the club scene. That could be a problem. No, I know you're not a clubber, but you like to go out and have a little fun. Yeah, no.
But Rebecca and I talked about how you can still go out and have fun and not.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. His top artists are Taylor Swift, Drake.
I knew you were going to say that.
Taylor Swift. Okay, he's back in the race. Let's see. Oh, Beyonce, Rihanna. Okay, this might be okay.
Okay, here, let me sell you on him, and then I'll also give my things. And I'm gonna just give a little bit of a visual to people who can't see him. So in the first photo, the lead photo, what would you say that he's doing?
Yeah.
What position?
So it looks to me like he's on. Whoops, we're gonna flip back up here. He's okay. So it looks like he's on a wave board or something, which is very difficult in the water to do a yoga stand on. I think it's interesting that that's your first picture. I think maybe he's trying to attract someone who's physically active.
Yeah.
And that's where, we know that you don't even like running up and down the stairs more than twice a day. So
it's not a hobby of yours. Yes.
This could not be the perfect match. I think what he does and what he's into is a match, but you know, unless he's into carrying you up and down the stairs. I don't know.
No, but like my whole thing is, in every relationship's like this, you're not gonna do everything together. You're not. Do you know? And I've always kind of said, if a guy comes to me and he's like, I need one night a week that I just go out with the guys. All right, that's not gonna change. Go out with the guys. If you say to me, I'm going to the gym every day, I'm gonna say, go to the gym. Like, I don't need to go with you, right? Like, I get that you want somebody that's active to go on adventures with you, but I'm not that girl. Active to me is going to a sale at Birdine's.
Right.
Like that.
So I am going to say, in general, I would, and I'll tell you why this guy is the exception. In general, I would say, yes, look, Manny, also, we do this like every week. We go all over the place trying to pick these guys, and then they jump out of the hive anyway. So sometimes we're just like, all right, you got to take, you know, that's the nature of being in the gutter for too long. But you kind of take a chance and you're like, well, maybe this isn't actually a problem. And this is the nature of an online profile, is you're putting it out there. Sometimes you're getting rid of people that you shouldn't, because you're like, oh, actually, I can just go hiking by myself. However, this guy is an exception to the rule, because my flag on him is a very subtle flag, but he has on every section what he's seeking, in search of, and he describes specifically that he wants someone who's very active. But the fact that he does describe what he's looking for gives a little bit of evidence of that potential douchey quality that you're picking up on, which is like, kind of like, I never like it when men are like, well, I want someone to be this way or that way. Like, it sort of makes sense. And at the same time, it smells to me like someone who's going to be critical.
Right. Right. I mean, I think if it was me, even though I'm not that physically active, I would probably just give it a shot, you know, as an out. Why not? Nothing to lose. But my guard would definitely be up.
Yeah, he says, Julie, literally, and this, I was like, well, I don't know how this goes either way, because you're definitely young at heart and you're still young. He says, I am very active and seek the same, so young at heart or younger. And part of me is like, let's say that he's like, yeah, you're plenty young for me, and you're plenty, you know, energy for me and all of that. He still has his sights set on like these specific things that he's so specific about enough to put on his profile, that having been with somebody who's a critical man, that he might have his eyes out for people who just are a little bit more of this or just a little bit more of that or whatever, closer to this ideal he has. But I don't know. I think actually we should phone a friend here and ask Julie what she thinks. We should give her a phone. Yeah, you take a look.
Back up. Go ahead and start it over so you can see him.
I can never. I mean, I think he's cute.
There. So that's what we're talking about.
I mean, you and I talk about all the time, the hive picks your best photo, which sometimes I don't agree with that would be your first photo. My thing with that is I don't know the background of that photo. I don't know if he did that once in front of a friend and somebody said, that's cool, I'll take a picture. And he thought, that's a cool photo. Let me put it in my bio, right? I don't know. I mean, I like him. For the purpose of the show, let's throw him in the,
I mean,
let's throw him in the,
okay.
Let's throw him in the mix for content's sake. Because I think we want to find out which category he falls in.
Yeah.
Like we do with the gutters. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm going to just already.
He doesn't look his age. He doesn't look.
No, he doesn't.
No.
I'm so curious. I really hope we really got to see if we can report back to people about this one, because it was such a I'm all over about it. Okay, so now we're getting into guys that are.
I have to tell you, this is our relationship. Manny just said, I can't do that at 52, and I said, not without a bed underneath you.
Oh, I'm so glad we have you on.
We didn't nickname him. Let's name him.
Agile.
Yeah.
Agile,
Mr. Agile.
Okay, now, oh wait, this guy.
This guy.
Wait, why do I have?
So we have to tell you, all the viewers that are home, if you had to figure out what's going on right now, Manny and I are upstairs. Manny's husband, Nate, is downstairs making dinner, and all we smell is bacon, Brussels sprouts. We're drinking wine, and we know he's making lasagna and French bread.
We're just dying up here.
The smells up here, we're literally like,
So we see drool coming down my face. Just ignore it.
It's not the men that we're looking at that are making us drool. It's the fact that dinner is waiting for us after this show.
I love that. Okay, now we're going to do the thing where this is a perfect journey, okay? Because now we're going to start making some choices about, is this someone that Juleigh would automatically be attracted to? We're going to start making some trades. Okay. So this is, let's see. This is the next guy. And again, part of this is for the sake of conversation, because sometimes I want you to tell me what I already know, but I want it confirmed by you. Including like, he's just not a match for her, which is my instinct. But let's roast him.
So you don't think that's for me, but you want to roast him a little bit with Manny.
Well, I don't know. He could be.
That's what you're asking.
Okay, so far I like this guy. I like what he has, like his pilot's license.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of cool. That's not a small feat by any means. Let me see. I'm trying to start the play over again. Oh, okay. He's a consultant. That's cool. He's fit. Loves restaurants, hockey, cruises. We know you love cruises. I like this guy. I mean, just scanning through really quickly, I think he'd be one of the top ones. Oh, he likes to play golf.
I like golf.
Yeah.
I used to work on a golf course.
You want to be the driver of the cart. So
I was a ball cleaner.
Yeah.
I was a ball cleaner too. I still am. And I'm goddamn good at it. So
am I. That's why we're friends.
Oh my God.
I can't say his name, but I love his name because they're my initials.
So let's call this guy the back nine.
Okay.
Because he can get it. Never mind.
All right. So I am okay. I'm gonna give the listeners the visuals and the words here. So he's 48. He's a regional director consultant. He went to University of Georgia. I'm fit, financially, emotionally, physically secure, an adventurous guy living the salt life. I don't know what that means.
It means he loves the ocean. He's beachy. He likes to get on a beach.
We like that.
Are we doing back?
Love Tampa, lighting, hockey, cruises, beach, and new restaurants. Pilot license. Let's go on an adventure. Passport ready. And then he's 6 foot. He's active, Aries. He drinks socially. He's never smoked. He has kids and doesn't want more, but he doesn't mention them. And given his age, they're probably grown or close to grown. He's Christian. He loves the gym, action and adventure movies, mindfulness, sleeping well. We love that. And nutrition. Languages I know, English and Spanish. Wow. Then his first photo is in a car, but he's got like a nice gray V-neck on and he's got glasses. We know the car selfies very well. Then he's got like a golf cart selfie with a polo, nice colored blue, sunglasses on the top of his head, smiling. He asks, what's your dream vacation destination? After work, you can find me going to play golf or on a run to unwind. I'm known for willing to help friends or neighbors in time of need, and my personal hell is slow drivers in the fast lane. So you don't get a say, Juleigh, remember? Not on this one. I think we're going to put him, is he at the top so far?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Agreed. 100%.
So I'm going to do an auto swipe. Okay. So then now we have this guy. Okay.
All right. Exciting.
While we're doing this, I do have to mention, and I was sharing with Manny earlier, when we first started on this endeavor, Rebecca and I were in a cigar bar in Melbourne, Florida, and we were going through the Hive, and she was like, okay, we got to change this, and you should maybe want to word it like this, and you want to do it like this. Manny and I had a conversation earlier in the week where he was like, you can't put everything that you put on a profile. And I was like, that is not what the Hive is. Like, that is not what my profile says. His big takeaway at one point, he was like, you can't be so open about being intersex, but we've talked about that before. Kind of pinging off of that, what is acceptable to say, in your opinion, on a profile when you are in a lifestyle like mine, and it is very, I mean, I don't have a choice. I have to be transparent, right?
I mean, you do, but there's certain things that people don't have to know in a profile. I mean, of course, a good picture or pictures, that's what everyone has, interests about yourself, what you like to do, where you like to travel. I don't think they need to know intimate details about you.
But I mean, do you tell them?
But you need to know your gender, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the challenge, right? And I mean that, and you're right, Rebecca, that's the ongoing challenge, because Juleigh being intersex crosses over into many different realms. So like an example, we had I won't go into details, but we had a game night here on Friday, and a bunch of gay men came over. And obviously one of them was very attractive, and he was attracted to Juleigh. And, you know, it consistently crosses those barriers. So she could be on the Hive, and she can also be in the Beast, and she could be looking around in there. So I understand there's certain things that have to be said within there, because if you're in the Beast, they will look at you and go, oh, it's a transgender female, right? And then that sections off those people that are looking for that, but she's not. So it really throws a curveball into the entire, and I think that's what makes all of this so interesting to talk about, because we're not talking about just males and females, you know, looking for dick or puss or whatever out there. We're actually coming across people who are, you know, XXY and things of that nature, where it could be a little bit different. And it poses some challenges for those people, because they're like, wow, I'm attracted to her. Oh, and there's that.
But I'm not sure what she is.
But I'm not sure what she is, and I'm not sure how to deal with that. So then, you know, Juleigh and I have had these conversations where she talks about the sexuality part of it, because that's what they want to know about. They're like, well, how does this work? You know, what do you have? What do you not have? Right?
How is this going to work for us if we date?
Yeah.
How is this going to work for us in the bedroom? And then you explain that, and they either say, okay, that's interesting, I want to explore that, but then it puts it more into a sexual context, or they say, I can't deal with that, and I'd never be able to bring you home to my family, I'm out.
Exactly. This is so interesting. Okay, I'm gonna argue both sides of this, and maybe we can all come to a conclusion for potentially an experiment. My argument for is that I think of having it on there is I think Juleigh is tired of having to answer that question every second. So that's going to be the first question that they ask her, potentially. And then she's like, well, why don't I want to get that out of the way. I want to make sure that the people that I'm talking to are interested in me, so I don't have to go through this. However, you have said yourself, leaving a little light on content lately and on conversations in the Hive. So if you're willing to open that back up and have those discussions back up, it will also give us, in a scientific sense, information about who's leaving when they find out more information about you and who's not. And I think Manny has a really good point. If we were in real life, as somebody, I'm personally pansexual. So I am interested, I'm attracted to the energy and the chemistry. And if we had chemistry, it's sort of, I'm like, well, like you say, Julie, like sex is sex. I mean, it's connection. It's all those things. You figure it out with what you got. But I mean, there are people who are very fixated on wanting something specific. But I guess it's true that you might be limiting, there are those people that are like, oh, I was straight my whole life. And then there was that one person and they end up with them. You are cutting those people out because they're not going to consider, because they're going to have this in their head. So I think it would be worth doing an experiment to see how annoying it gets for you. and just leaving it off your profile and letting people ask, or you maybe volunteer it early on and just say, I just want to check with you, after you have a few exchanges, and say, I sometimes this is a thing for people.
Yeah. Because then they get to know you a little bit, right, Rebecca? They get to know.
Yeah, they're like already pulled in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're saying maybe this week, going into this next week, after we pick our picks tonight, we remove the intersex aspect off of the profile and we just set it up as I am a cisgendered woman and see where it goes.
That's what you are.
Yeah. Well, and also what people put on their profile is like over magnified to the reader. So if somebody's like talking about boating, I'm like, why do you like boating? Or like they're talking about climbing mountains. You're like, oh, well, it's going to be a no for me because they're climbing mountains. So it makes it seem like it's like the biggest part of your life, and it's a big part of your life, but it's not.
It doesn't define me.
Right. So it does. Yeah. Let's try it, taking it off this week.
Okay. I mean, it'll be interesting. Agreed. It'll be interesting. I mean, we all know I don't have a taco, so I mean that.
Just to paint it on one.
When you get
it's a very nice.
It's going to be.
I
know, but it may be very triggering when I get to that. I may need a little hand holding when I get to the point of telling these men that I don't, because I've always said that about trans women. They often don't offer that they're trans. And then when it gets to the point of them being in a situation where the guy is into being with them, and then they say, by the way, I'm trans, I don't have a taco, then that's when they get in trouble. That's when they get murdered. That's when they get drugged down the street by an F-150. And so I'm not trying to put myself in that situation, which
no. Safety-wise, it has to happen. It has to happen before you go out with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking just one conversation back and forth is had, then you're like, hey, I like to meet up and see how we are in person. Like, I don't like to chat for too long, but before we do that, I do want to let you know this one thing about me. Totally understand if you're very, very straight or very gay or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I think as long as you're not putting yourself in an unsafe situation, the people that accuse you of hiding information from them or something, let the trash take itself out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and let's be honest, we can take it off the profile. We can still leave because it says I'm CEO of justjuleigh.com. Duh. So like we can still leave that up. And if they're very intrigued, they can go check out and that'll tell them right away, this is what she is. So
and if you're shy to explain to them, you can say, I have something to tell you. The best way to tell you is if you check out my link on my profile. It'll tell you a little bit more about who I am.
Let's try it for next week. That'll be good. All right.
Okay. So I'm going to send you another guy that I think he doesn't have a ton. So I sent you one, but I want to send you a different one first to look at, and you can roast him.
Okay, well, let's make this the last for tonight, just because it's 7:53. So going into,
you know what? I mean, he's not. We don't even need him if we don't want him.
Let's do him.
We can do one more.
We can do one more. That'll be 4 for this week.
Okay, so did you get? I'm gonna resend him if I accidentally didn't.
The 38-year-old.
37. He's got a dog.
Yes, I've got the dog guy.
Okay, so what are your
the dog guy?
Okay, we have another one. Hold on. Okay. All right. Oh, another dog guy. Okay, great smile.
He has a bad giveaway photo. You'll get to it.
Okay,
now, Rebecca, inform Manny real fast what the giveaway photo is, because
most people who are like at least average or above attractiveness, but most people in life can take 3 good photos.
Okay.
At least one. And often when they put a lot of photos on there, you end up having one that's like, oh, this is what they really look like, though. It's not their best photo. Giveaway.
She calls it the giveaway
photo. I found it. Okay. So I don't know. He looks like a fun guy. Really sort of down to earth. it's kind of fun what he does for a living with the fishing. What is he, a fishing guide or something?
Fishing charter guide.
Okay. I'm trying to read this real quick. Oh, I love the let's book a flight and go somewhere. I mean, that's awesome. He seems really spontaneous.
Yeah, but who's footing that bill?
Probably you. Fishing guy.
But it could go either way with this guy. Can't tell.
We're going to Disney.
But here's the thing. You know what? Maybe it's this. I mean, hey, you've seen Forrest Gump. Maybe it's some huge fishing or shrimping company. I mean, look, you don't know. You're goofy and fun, so you have to be goofy and fun. Well, you're goofy, so no, you're goofy and fun. He lives right here, from Hastings, Minnesota. I don't know. I kind of like this guy.
I think he would be. So one thing that I try to give Julie, if I can't give her the love of her life, is a nice date, a fun time, high quality chocolate.
He's a fun time.
So I think we should give it. And Julie, I think he can actually. He goes on a lot of adventures. I mean, there's a picture of him skydiving. Oh, and then for the sake of our listeners, so they know what we're talking about, he owns a fishing guide service. So he's the business owner. If you know anyone that wants to catch some fish, book a flight. Just out here building my outdoor empire. Then he's active, 5'9". He's a Cancer. He has a graduate degree. Drinks socially. He's looking for a relationship. Interested in hockey, exploring new cities, hiking trips, road trips, sense of adventure. We've got a cool picture of him. Skydiving like this. What makes a relationship great is communication and trust. And then he's holding up some kind of trophy. Is that a fish trophy?
Look at that again. I got to scroll through here.
Manny said if it doesn't work out with me, we can hook him up with Devo from the beginning. I was like, great.
Wait, it's scrolling down. I'm looking for the picture. It's like it's a Toyota or something. Come on.
He's holding a Toyota?
Well, Toyota looks like a sponsor for whatever he was the champion of, but it looks like a fish coming out of the water. He's wearing a NASA t-shirt.
The fishing contest.
Bandana around his neck. He's cute. Julie, I mean, I think he's the closest we've got to sort of like the look you like, except for the giveaway photo.
Bass for dinner. Or trout.
And then we've got him on a boat, smiling, having the time of his life with a backwards baseball cap. And then the giveaway photo. Here's the giveaway photo.
I think it's funny because so many women will be like, what's with the men having fish photos on their profile? We've talked about it before. Here, he's all about fish. So I'm not going to, I would almost rather he was holding a Toyota in one of his photos.
Yeah.
Well, the best part is he's not actually holding up the fish. He's got a fish trophy, which is a nice little alternative take on the fish guide.
True.
And he's a fish business owner.
Or is it not a fish trophy and y'all don't recognize that it's that thing that sings at Christmas from that you put on the wall?
So Tommy said he picks Bachelor number 2.
Yes. So Tommy Lampkin is watching us right now. By the way, he loves Manny.
Oh my God! I just want to see that.
Always says, oh, I used to work for Manny. I love Manny.
Oh my God.
He is a good friend of mine. I see him often out at the clubs. I love that he's watching tonight. So thanks for watching. Earlier, he said, I can hear you. And then he said, oh, sounds yummy. I'm not sure where the sound yummy, what that fell into.
Well, I know who it is. You don't want to know that.
Well,
I remembered and then forgot about it. And I think we'll let him have that one.
And now I picked Bachelor number 2. So out of the 3, he's picked Bachelor number 2. Tommy, the great thing about this show is they pick all 3, and then I get to reach out to them and initiate a conversation. Lately, I've been so nervous. I kind of want Rebecca to go back as a writer and editor, and she can initiate the conversation. But that's not really fair to the guys that are swiping on me because then they're not really getting to see who I am. And sometimes
I think what we should do is an episode. Maybe this is the theme for next week, a workshopping episode, but where we look at some of your archived conversations. So I will expose you in this regard, and it's the men's fault, but Julie has been reported a couple times on the apps, and it's probably just for telling a shitty man off, and they can't handle it. Or
it also may be for they swipe and realize that I'm intersex and what that is, and they're upset and they feel duped and they report me for that reason.
Even though they have it on the profile, I think it's a them problem. But what we'll do is we'll look at your messages and we'll talk about what constitutes a good conversation, not from your side, but like in the early phases of messages, what constitutes like, oh, this is someone I might want to go out with, or what constitutes a good back and forth, or what should you be saying in those first on-app messages? And then I can kind of look through and say, hey, let's flag this. I feel like maybe you could start it this way differently or do it this way. You want to do that?
Yeah. I often will use the prompts in the Hive. We've talked about this before. The Hive will provide prompts, and we use them. Where I get upset sometimes, and Manny had never really seen the Hive because it's not a gay app, right? And he didn't realize that men that are in my Hive have already swiped on me. And when we go in and look at the Hive, these are men that have come forward and said, I like her based on her look or what I might have read, right? I like her. And then we go through and we can kind of filter through and say, yes, no, I'd like to start a conversation. That's how this particular app works, the Hive, right? It's different from Kinder, or it's different from just swiping right, maybe on the Beast. So it's interesting when they've already swiped on me and you start a conversation and the prompt question is, what's your favorite kind of comfort food? And I'll say, grilled cheese, macaroni and cheese. I like cheese. And then they don't even answer the question and pop into the chat and say, hi, Juleigh, you have great tits. And you literally go, but that's not anything. That kind of goes back to what we were just saying earlier about how, and when you said they only log on when they're horny, right? Or they'll say, I'm not on this app all the time. I don't answer these questions. I don't pay for this. Would you like my phone number? Then you know kind of that's a giveaway that they're not looking for anything that they've said they're looking for.
Right.
Guys, we have one more comment. We are at the 8:00 hour. Did we decide yes on Bachelor 3? Did we throw him into the Hive?
We did throw him into the Hive. So you currently actually only have 2 remaining contenders, because we see this regularly where we'll match, and then the person will kind of go through their matches and maybe they've changed their mind or they're talking to someone else or whatever happens. So the 2 contenders we have from the night, I'm going to recap, that are still in there are the guy, what did we name him that has your initials, Manny?
Devo?
Pilot license.
Devo,
No,
and
wasn't
then
Devo.
Mr. Eligible. We did Mr. Eligible. We lost Devo.
We've got Salt Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll call him that, the golf guy. He's added new photos, you guys.
Oh, he did? Which one?
He has a puppy. I'm going to show the puppy.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This is the guy that Manny and I really felt like could be an actual candidate.
Was this the optometrist guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it?
Wait, no. He's the consultant.
Salt Life, right?
Yeah, Salt Life.
Okay, I'll look at you in a second.
So we could just say M, okay? Because
Okay.
I'm giving away one, because that's the initials are there.
And then the other guy, and then I want to see Tommy's comment here for sure. The other guy is the guy that we just had, the dog guy who has the fishing company, Billy Bass, or what is that name of that? Bass.
Yeah. What's the name of it?
Just call him Bass.
We'll call him Bass.
Call him Bass.
Okay.
So
those are our 2 standing contenders.
Okay. It'll be fun for the purpose of this tonight as we go into dinner, because we have family dinner tonight. Go ahead and send Manny those last 2.
Yeah, I'll look at
in the Hive. He will look at them. You can decide blindly without my knowledge, and then put them in the Hive, and we'll do it that way for the purpose of content for tonight. Going into Tommy's comment, he first said sound yummy in regards to dinner, but he also said a good check would be to follow your gut. When you're calm, you speak to them, or where you're anxious or avoidant, right? So when you're calm. And he had also said, oh, wow, you can do it, Juleigh.
You can.
Well, Tommy's an expert in this area, so.
I really love that thing about the calm thing. I actually heard somewhere that, that nauseous feeling that you can get around someone sometimes, it is actually an instinct that you're around an intraspecies predator. So just to reinforce that point there.
And I've been sharing this quote a lot lately as we've done this show. It really kind of hits home with me for everybody that's watching, not just as I look for somebody in my life. Be with someone who chooses you every day, not just when they are in the mood for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is important
100%.
for everybody. Mm-hmm. As you look for somebody in your life.
Was that me? Am I the one that you choose?
Rebecca! See?
That's a sign right there.
Julie does end up with us together.
That's just, I know, right? This is the Fight Club moment where you insert a dick into the movie you're watching. So anyway, so that, choose somebody that wants to be with you all the time. Marilyn Monroe, we actually were in the record store yesterday, a vintage record store. And we were talking about how a lot of artists are coming out with LP records. I have to go back to Savannah when I'm there and pick up my record player that's at my friend Charlie's house. But we bought a remastered 2023. Well, Manny bought it. Marilyn Monroe album yesterday. And it has cuts like Happy Birthday, Mr. President on it. And Daddy's Girl. And like all these great. And we were talking about it. And I had a point. And now I don't remember.
Oh, Jesus.
Just keep talking. It eventually comes out.
She's got lasagna on the brain. You should smell it.
No, just that, Marilyn Monroe has a saying where she says, if you don't understand me at my worst, if you can't deal with me at my worst, then you don't get me at my best. And that's what that saying kind of reminds me of. Be with somebody who chooses you every day, not just when they're in the mood for you. And online dating, we know from doing this podcast every week, is a veritable dumpster fire shit show for so many of you out there. It really is. We want to make that easier for you. Join us. Come and talk to us. Be a part of our show every Sunday night at 7 p.m. as we talk about what's really hard about online dating. But we also share with you that you are not the only one that's in that dumpster fire. Yeah. And you are not the only one that's trying to be found and appreciated and loved in this world, right? It is hard for everybody. And we want the same for everybody. And everybody wants the same for us. And embrace your friends. Love the people that lift you up and support you. And use them to help you find and a forever, right? And so.
Like Tommy. Call me Tommy.
So, thank you so much for being a part of us this evening and joining Optimistic in Orlando, Rose All Day, and Julie's a Mess. Join us next week when we try another Rose, and also where Julie takes intersex out of her profile and sees if she can catch some fucking fish without any of that shit. We'll see. It's been a great night. Thank you, Manny. As always.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see you next week.
For more content, follow justjuleigh.com. That's just Julie, JULEIGH.com. Thank you to our guests, and thank you for joining us this evening. Join us next week as Julie tries a different rosé.